my blood sugar. Ooh, I'm woozy. Ooh, I'm lightheaded. Shut up! I'm fine. Never better, in fact. Hello again, YouTube. My name's Markion, and it's been a while. Today I want to talk about fasting. I'm going to tell you about the one that I do every year. My interest in fasting started as a curiosity, I guess. It stood out to me that in general there's a lot of different, call it cultural constants, things across time and across different people groups that seem to be similar or have echoes of one another. One of those that always I thought was interesting was the association between going without food and something like holiness. Christ, Muhammad, and the Buddha all extolled the virtues of going without food for extended periods of time. And I don't know the scriptures, but if I remember right, they said that it something like brings them closer to God. And that's a weird thing for one person to say. I thought it was weirder still that more than one person over history was asserting that. So the first year I fasted was out of a sense of like religious curiosity. I wanted to get to know what that thing was that they were talking about. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. As I speak, I am 5 days into no food, certainly no solids, and no drinks with any nutrient value to speak of. I'll allow myself coffee and tea, and I had a seltzer the other day. That was nice, spicy water. But for the most part, nothing. But yeah, to clarify, the thing at the beginning was a bit. I feel great. This is in fact the first year that I haven't done vigorous exercise alongside the fast, and I would do that in years past to prevent muscle wasting. That is, your body eating the muscles. And the reason I'm not doing that this year is because I'm in the middle of dealing with a shoulder injury. I was at an MRI today. Yeah, my personal interest in it comes from exploring states of consciousness. And I don't know if you have ever gone for longer than a day without having something, but your mind goes to a different place. And maybe that sounds dramatic. It's like a sense of clarity and a sense of sharpness. And one of the great draws for me is that you need to sleep much less. I like my naps, and I find myself when I'm doing the fast that I just need less of it. There's more energy, there's more what feels like fuel in the tank for attending to the stuff you want to get done. So yeah, it's always a nice productivity boost. I'll do it around this time of year because I like to start the year off ticking things off the checklist that have been on my mind. But let me address some of the common concerns that I think come around fasting. Namely, friends of mine have with worried tones and eyes sort of wide said, isn't that bad for your body? Doesn't it make you feel lightheaded, and doesn't the hunger start to hurt after a while? Doesn't it get worse? And that's part of why I wanted to make this video. I want to dispel some common, what I think are misconceptions. This is the classic case of don't knock it before you try it. And I think that even when people have experimented with states of fasting, periods of fasting, they will go, 2 days, maybe 3 days in, and go, oh God, this sucks, and call it off there. Thing is, once your body adjusts to, we're not going to be ingesting food for a while, the mechanism inside you and inside all of mammals that's there to keep you alive in famine situations and not having a miserable time all the time turns on. This is something that we would have to have sort of by design, because for most of human history we haven't had the massive availability of food that we have today. That's another piece of why I did this in the first place. I really like seeing what you can do without. It's like, more than most people, I love food. I pride myself in being a pretty good cook. I have a couple of really banger dishes. I used to work at a Chinese restaurant, and many of my friends still request that I make biang mian. Maybe I'll do a video about that sometime. And anyway, people like my cooking. I like my cooking, and I like all kinds of cooking. I love food. So I wanted to see what happens when I do without something that is important to me and that I deeply like. I think there's value in removing something that you take for granted and seeing what shifts. And yeah, not for nothing, I feel like I've drifted a bit. The weakness and the pain of hunger that's expected after going for more than a couple days without food is gone. To be clear, I wouldn't be able to run a couple miles. 1 mile would probably be very difficult. But yeah, years past I would go to the gym every day with fasting, and that was again to preserve my musculature. Less concerned about that this year. And the pain of hunger completely erases. Your body's not designed to keep you suffering. We're pretty adaptable. Now that said, there are good reasons to not fast. Among them include body image stuff. Yeah, I'd say if you have any history of binge eating or anorexia, or just doing this for weight loss, like, oh, I want to trim my figure down, don't. It's not that... I bet you think I'm saying this because it's like, oh, it works too well. No, actually, the contrary. If you're doing fasting for weight loss, you are going to be sorely disappointed. It's true that I lose about 10 pounds during the fasting period. If I remember correctly, that was maybe a little more than that, 12-ish pounds, over the course of 10 or so days. Depends year to year. I would do 7 days, 11 days, 9 days. Listen to your body is the point. When hunger comes back, that's when you end the fast. But about a week after the fast ends, anyway, the weight comes right back. Your body and the fat stores it builds it wants to keep those full. So if you are looking to lose weight, sorry, there's no cheats. You're gonna have to exercise and, start counting calories in, calories out. Another reason, and this is not medical advice, etc., but diabetics have a real hard time transitioning from the normal state to the extreme ketosis that fasting switches the body into. So yeah, if low blood sugar, if hypoglycemia is a problem for you, and there's a risk of passing out without insulin, don't do this, because you certainly will not be having your blood sugar replenished in any meaningful way. And the other reason not to do it is if you have poor self-control. Yeah, something about chasing extremes. If let's say you're really hype about doing a fast, really hype about doing a fast, and you really want to figure out how to change your body in this quick way, but you know part of the reason you're committing to this is because you have bad self-control. This is a bad place to start. Start at a lower difficulty level. You don't want to jump to the boss before you've done levels 1 through 9. And that sort of comes at every level. During the fast, hunger sort of goes away. You may catch yourself, I certainly did, just wandering down to the kitchen at the times when I would normally eat, and then standing in front of the pantry for 2 minutes before realizing, oh, I'm not eating, okay. And in my experience, that's most intense the first 2 or 3 days. But I think your senses get sharper too. And it's like hunger takes a different form, how it registers with you. And you'll, as a person in the world, be exposed to food smells and sights, just moving around. If you've got roommates, them cooking food will definitely be something your nose picks up on. If you're on Instagram, again, I'm big into cooking. I follow a lot of cooking pages. Food porn is a thing. And yeah, good looking meals triggers a memory in your mind of like, oh yeah, food, that looks good. But it's just that, it's a memory. It's hard to describe, but it's not the same as the mouth-watering sensation you might feel before sitting down to a big dinner when you haven't eaten all day. It's a more abstract feeling. It's weird. So all that said, I'm here 5 days into my fast with probably about 5 days to go. And what are the reasons for that? There must be good reasons for that. Yeah, the change in consciousness that you experience is really something interesting. I'm someone who appreciates the varieties of experience, and I appreciate the perspective that fasting gives me. It's like, oh, if I had a flashlight. Hang on. This lighting makes me look very different than this lighting. And I think a lot of conscious states are like that. Like my face is the same. The thing itself remains constant. But just by shifting a perspective, it takes on a different feeling, different look, different sense associated with it. I think much of the world is like that. So all this to say, I think there's great value in taking a step back from something we take so for granted, and something that's so commonplace, at least in America these days, which is food. Yeah, on the one hand, it's great that obesity and diabetes are a bigger problem than starvation. But on the other hand, it's like the obstacle is the way. If the prevalent problem is diabetes, let's maybe take a step back from food for a minute and see what's going on there. And then also the practical bits that come with the fasted state of mind. Definitely there's more energy available to me. Definitely it's the case that I need less sleep, and sleep is my drug of choice, if I do say so myself. And then above and beyond that stuff, there's just more time. One of the things that stands out as an observation of this is how much time is spent for me, not just eating food, but preparing to eat food, whether it's cooking or like picking out what restaurant, what food item I want, and then recovering from food. I'm 29 now, my metabolism's slowed down, and after lunch, usually I want a big nap. So, yeah, this is a way to extract some hours out of the day for... It doesn't need to be productivity. I've been able to enjoy myself with games and painting and reading more in the past, week almost. So, if this interests you, I would say it's worth a try. It's neat, if absolutely nothing else. And yeah. I don't know if there's much more to say. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, hit me with any questions in the comments, and thanks for coming around. Till the next one.